And then, wait, where's this? And we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live Game Dev Making VFX. I'm your host and creative. I forgot my title. Jared Huckabee. Welcome to the show. If you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and we hang out with some of our developers. Usually the poor, unfortunate people that I convince to stay late on their Fridays when they're trying to go home and do this with me. So this week's victims are two esteemed members from our Manchester VFX team. We have Mike Snowden, the VFX director. Say hi, Mike.
Hi.
And we have Leo. What's your title? Like principal VFX engine programmer? I don't remember.
Yeah, principal VFX programmer.
Oh, see, I was close. I was close.
Yeah, close enough.
I literally have anomic aphasia. I got diagnosed last year. It's like I cannot hold names. So I got an excuse. I try not to use it. All right. So, Star Citizen Live Game Dev. If you've never seen a Game Dev before, it's where instead of the usual hour-long Q&A, we are going to make something with feedback from the community. We do this to demonstrate process and show a bit about how we work. If you're watching live on Twitch right now, you should see a poll at the top of the chat right now using the Twitch's in-house poll thing. If you're watching on YouTube later, sorry. Our four choices on this week's show are Terraformer Beam, Vehicle Thruster, Dome Shield, and the ever-popular Explosions. Mike, you provided these four choices, and you will be doing the work. How did you narrow it down to these four choices?
They just felt like fairly kind of relatively simple things to be able to recreate in a shortish space of time, and to be able to kind of receive direction from the people watching.
Right. Yes, and it as the standard disclaimer that we give out every game dev episode, very little can effectively be made in less than an hour. So remember, you are going to see a truncated, abbreviated experience here, but it's still part and parcel of open development and the Star Citizen process to show how our developers work and as much of their process as we can. Right now, it is neck and neck between Terraformer Beam and Dome Shield. It was an early lead for Terraformer Beam, and then Dome Shield is coming back. I really thought Explosions would have been would have been stronger, but I guess everybody's seen Explosions. Leo, well, we're gonna let this go for another minute. So, what does a VFX graphics programmer do? What's your day like?
We support the VFX team in just features, tools, anything that we want to kind of achieve the nice visuals that VFX artists want to implement. There's quite a bit of bug fixing in there, but also feature development. The features range from fire hazard to currently we're also working on damage maps, which is a big project for the salvage feature. But yeah, there are quite a lot of features in the pipeline that are being planned out as well. And then in terms of kind of tools, it's like the particle editor that Mike will be showing. We have quite an extensive particle system, and if there's anything new in there that needs to be that artists want to achieve, then we kind of talk to them and try and implement their requests, I guess. Yeah.
And Mike, is there anything in Star Citizen that doesn't get touched by VFX at some point? Are you? We talk with the UI guys, and the UI guys touch just about everything. Audio touches just about everything. Is there anything you're like, they never let us play? We never get to work on that?
There's not much. I mean, I guess I guess characters that in Star Citizen there's kind of less character specific VFX work, but there's still effects requirements for characters, blood and EVA thruster effects and things like that. So no, not much really. There is a lot of pretty much everything has VFX in it at some point.
All right. So we are going to call that. It looks like Dome Shield, won with 48% of the vote. So
Okay.
yeah, where do we start with a Dome Shield?
Well, because of time constraints,
You make a
I
circle and
did
then cut it in half.
take the liberty. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna depending on what people request and what the feedback is, I'm going to use the particle system to create the dome. So I've started myself. I've given myself a bit of a head start, but I'll just quickly talk through what I've got here. So yeah, this is a previously placed particle effect, which is I'll just kind of use one of the things that Leo gave us, which takes me to the database. So by clicking on this option here in the particle menu, that's taken me to the database, which shows that's the library where the particle lives. And yeah, I'll switch it off. I'll just kind of pretend I've started from scratch. So when I drop a particle in from scratch, there's literally nothing there. It's literally just an empty particle effect. So the first thing I need to do is give it a positive count. So here you can see I've got a count of 2000. If I didn't, I need to make sure it's enabled. So I'll enable it. I'm also going to set it to continuous. And by setting it to continuous, it means it's going to actually constantly spawn rather than being a burst effect. So the reason that this particle effect itself has actually got this kind of dome shape is because I've got some speed on it and I've got a gravity scale. So if I switch off the gravity scale, the speed is kind of pushing it out like a disk. And the reason it's pushing it out like a disk is because I'm using velocity direction from the shape. So on its own, this effect, let me just switch the speed up as well. So first thing I'm going to see when I make an effect is it's just going to look like this. It's just going to be like a blob on the screen. So I gave it some speed. That's obviously going up in the y. Which axis is it? I always get confused. Yeah, up in the y-axis. Because I've given it an emission size. So emission size is basically defining like the bounds of the effect. So if I increase that to 1 by 1, you can kind of see. And actually, there's an emission debug draw which will show what that bounds is. Bring that back down. Was it 0.1? I can't remember what I even had it set on. Doesn't really matter. So set to 0.1. And what I did was to get it forming that disk, I was using this setting here, which is velocity direction from shape, and that's literally just going to use the shape, I guess, normals of the shape to fire it in that direction. Because I don't have any value in this middle axis, it's keeping it basically 2D, so it's like it's a disk. If I give that 0.1 as well, it's just firing everything out radially. So full disclosure, there's tons of ways that I could make a dome based effect. I could just use focus on using a mesh entirely, but I wouldn't really get to use as many of the settings if I did that, and it might be a bit more kind of boring to view.
Right.
Okay, so the other thing that sorry, go on, Jared.
Oh no, I was gonna say I don't think it's any surprise that there's no one way to build anything in video games. That's one of the reasons we call it development and not construction. It's not enough to just make a thing. You have to figure out the most effective way to make a thing. You have to figure out the most cost efficient way to make a thing, and you have to figure out the way to make a thing where it works with all the other things that you've already made and all the things you ever will make. Lots of considerations.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also playing to the strengths. Like I see our particle system as one of our real strengths with our engine. So it's always fun to use the particle system. All right, so it's obviously not a dome at the moment. That's because I got rid of the gravity scale. Gravity scale is basically just a multiplier of the actual gravity in the level. By default, in a test level, there wouldn't be any gravity, but I've got a gravity box in here. I've also got a wind volume, but we probably won't really care about that for this. So just quickly get rid of all the debug stuff. So You have to stop me if I'm whizzing the camera around too quickly as well, because I'm aware that sometimes that's a little bit jarring when people are showing things. So yeah, you kind of see the broad shape of it there. That's kind of working for me. Scale wise, this is kind of I'll jump into game mode in a little bit later on, but yeah, this is kind of the player is it's quite kind of tightly conforming to the player height, so it's like a player force field kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're thinking like a deployable dome shield that the player could put around themselves to protect
Why
them.
not? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? So that's the main shape. That's kind of me set up now to really start to be able to sculpt this in a way that obviously we could go in a million different directions for this from a stylistic point of view, from an artistic point of view. Uh, do you want to give me some feedback? Should I just freestyle it? What would you like to do, Jared?
What do you need to know?
What should it look like?
Like
What do you want it to?
What are options? You want colors? You want texture? What are you looking for?
Yeah, just whatever people want. Like, what is the thing? What's the reason it exists? Is it plasma? Is it something more kind of more like digital? There's so many things that we could do. I'll just give you a quick example. Okay, so at the moment there's no texture on each particle. It's just a black square. If I just drop my old faithful glow particle, set it to additive. This is in the appearance settings, so I'm using a texture now, whereas before there was no texture assigned to the quad. Each particle's got that square. I'm gonna whack on some emissive lighting, and I'll just crank it up actually. So this emissive lighting is measured in nits, so it's kind of technically or physically based within reason. But you see that kind of glow that we get now. I'll do it crank it up even more. Just add another one, add another 0, sorry, why not? So now we got something that's looking much more like there's energy coming from that now. It's looking a lot more like it's some kind of like emissive energy source. Although it's obviously looking a little bit blobby because it's just these dots.
And for those who are watching live at home, what you're seeing is the zoom delay. More data information going through Zoom, and Zoom tends to crap out a little bit. So
yeah, that's a good part. I mean, anytime you see particle effects, fast moving effects, compression and streaming can kind of struggle a little bit. So I'll drop that emissive down because that's obviously affecting the exposure. So one of the things I've mentioned, you'll see that the brighter the effects that exposure is kicking in, so it's darkening everything around it. So I could actually use the lighting toolbar to clamp that.
Do you remember the dome shields from Phantom Menace, the ones that the Gungans used?
I do, because we recreated them in a game that I made at a former company.
Oh, yeah. You think we could pull off something approximating that before I volunteer you for something that
we could try it, but the thing with that is it's more like that's almost like a kind of almost like I think of it like sort of pearlescent. It's more like I think that would be a mesh based approach to that would probably work.
That's fair.
We can maybe try it later on if I get time, because I do have an actual sphere mesh that as a kind of backup that I was going to use. Okay, I feel like I'm kind of rambling and I'm not really making much progress here. So what do you want me to do, Joe? Do you want me to just start kind of noodling away, freestyling it?
Let's go digital.
Digital, okay.
You said that earlier. What makes a shield look digital?
So typically for me, it's more like you sort of emphasize the pixels and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to go straight to a square texture. What can I use? I'll just stay in the glow folder.
As for people who in the chat are asking, are you actually going to do dome shields for the game? That's a question for designers. who make gameplay decisions and then send them over to VFX people and say, now you need to make this. So
Yeah.
the answer is we don't know. Not the folks
Yeah.
here on this show.
If someone if a designer decides they need it for their game, then we'll be ready to make one for them. No problem. Okay, so dead simple thing. I mean, I'm just using like a square texture. So for me, that's instantly like my mind is reading that like a sort of pixely kind of thing. So it's a very, very simple change. I've obviously changed the color as well. I feel like that's already reading a bit more digital than it was before.
Yeah. Linear2 says, alternatively, the gameplay designers watch the stream and go, we need this, let's go. That has happened more than once. That has happened more than once. Not necessarily,
so many times.
not necessarily that the thing we made on stream is what gets made in the game, but the thing that we make on stream then inspires an idea that then turns into something else. So let's just say I keep a little list in the back of my mind of all the things that are in the game because of some dumb idea that started with some dumb thing I did, and it's growing. I'm very pleased with that list.
So what I've just done there is I've just set the time scale to 0. I've just basically just frozen the effect in time, and I just wanted to kind of show, kind of cheating a little bit here because I'm using I am quite lazy if I'm being honest.
You already said you're a director.
No, I am. I mean, no, I'm always looking for like the easiest way to do a thing, because then if I can do it more easily, then I can do it more quickly, and then I can do more things. So the fastest route to the point I'm trying to get to is my favorite one. So what I've done here is that instead of just finding like a much crisper square texture, which we've definitely got, although I kind of glaze over sometimes when I'm trying to find things against the clock, I'm like, oh my god, I can't find it. So you can see here, like the kind of glow is built in. Yeah, I mean that's actually pretty. I quite like that, that. But if I was thinking again, staying on the kind of the digital theme, I want it to be crisper. So all I'm doing here is I'm using the alpha erosion setting that we've got, and that's essentially like eroding the. Leo, is there like a more technical description? I'm just going to say it's like eroding the alpha, so it's clipping away at the alpha, the index of that alpha in the texture.
Yeah.
Which is that.
Yeah, it's basically clipping, culling based on the alpha value of the texture.
Yeah, it's quite a cool technique actually. It's a very, very, very common one as well in VFX. That was a happy accident. I don't know if you saw what I just did then. That was pretty cool.
Ooh.
I set the time scale to -1, and it reversed time.
Does that work?
Shouldn't do, but it does. Look at that. That is so cool. Oh, we'd be able to track view that.
Happy accidents.
That's amazing. Cool. All right.
Yeah. The chat is saying that at some point we need to add a trail effect.
Trail effect. Oh, what, a trail to each pixel?
Yeah, it's like so we can see where they were as they're moving along.
It's a great idea.
Like little comets.
Here's what we're going to do then. We're going to make a child particle. So the child particle, I'm going to use. Just going to drop this down. So I'm going to use another kind of lazy trick. It's not really lazy. This is just good practice. We've got an inheritance option here, which is by default is set to system. I'm going to use parent inheritance on this child particle. What that's done is that child particle is now inheriting all the properties from the parent. I can now override. If I make changes to the parent, the child will inherit all them changes just by default, which is great. Like I still see it actually with the VFX artists where you'll have an effect that's got kind of 3, 4, maybe more children in a hierarchy, and they're all kind of similar. They kind of need to sort of roughly match what the parent's doing, but they're not using parent inheritance, so it's a bit more of a manual process. Each time they make a change to the parent, they've got to do the changes manually to the child. So I'm using parent inheritance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to override the count of the child. What I'm going to now do is put this back up to 2000. This child has got a count of 1. I'm then going to set it to spawn. I'm going to change the spawn. Excuse me, the spawn settings of the child to be from parent birth. So, so what's happening now is I need to just zero out a few settings. It's a little bit ironic because I'm saying about like wanting to inherit all the settings, but I'm actually going to get rid of a lot of them. So I'm killing the speed and gravity scale. This might kind of
in Zoom at the
be a
top
bit
of
crazy.
in the top of the page, the top of the window, Mike, there's an option to optimize for video. It takes the resolution down,
course there
but
is.
it gives us a little more speed.
Yeah,
See if
I
we
mean,
switch that.
and I don't see you guys anymore because it automatically gets rid of them, doesn't it?
That definitely changed. Go back to see it. Let me see it there.
How's that look?
It's smoother, but it's less detailed. I mean that's always the trade-off with Zoom.
Yeah. Well, I'll stay with this. If people want me to kind of, I don't know, if you want to like do timescale 0 every now and then just to kind of see how it looks in a single frame, then I'm happy to do that.
This looks bad and we can't read the screen anymore. Let's go back. We can't read what you're clicking on anymore.
Okay.
Once we've returned to office, once we're all there and all in the same place, we won't have this issue anymore. You'll just be sitting right next to me on a computer that's right into the stream computer, and it'll be awesome. Someday.
Indeed. One quick thing I just did then is I set the texture sharp, and I've done it on the child. On the set the texture sharpness to 1, which will just re-emphasize. That basically puts it to it changes the bitmap, the lowest bitmap. It sets it at the highest possible texture quality, I guess. So that'll just keep it crisp and sharp. Right. Okay. So what am I doing? Making a trail, aren't I? So I'm gonna give the child a count of, let's just do 10 for now.
For people in the chat asking 1 questions, the answer to all 1 questions is always the same. When it's ready.
So this is doing some weird things. I'm gonna have to debug this slightly.
This looks good.
You guys know better.
Is it spawning? So I've got a lifetime. So I need to just do a little bit. I need to just step back and just think about what I've just done. So it's spawning. It's like Lewis said. It's like, oh, that kind of looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
There can be happy accidents quite frequently when you're working with effects because there's so many different combinations. You don't always expect.
So I think I know what's happening. It's spawning every second after the particle is spawned, and because every second is always at the same distance from the original point, you get these rings where the child particles spawn.
I think I need to just. I tell you what, I'm going to change the color.
Right.
There'll be actual VFX artists screaming at me. And I'll go, "What are you doing, Mike? It's so obvious what's gone wrong." It's not gone wrong. It's just doing a thing. So
we have a running gag on SEO where people forget their names. Like if people can forget their names in the heat of a live show where you've got the pressure and stuff, you're allowed to forget what a variable does. I almost used my 1 swear right there. I almost used my 1. I didn't. I saved it.
So I don't know this. I tell you what. Right, Leo, I'm gonna risk that weird flickering issue. I'm gonna use trail segments on the child to make it a proper trail.
Ooh.
Think this is gonna work?
You're living dangerous, Mike.
I don't think it likes it.
Now it looks like a Lady Gaga wig.
Let me just try. No, I won't do that. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I'm quickly going to do. I'm going to quickly...
See you later, Red Wolf 1. It's not a train station. You don't have to announce your departure. It's cool.
People are switching off. Okay, so... Right, test. I'm going to snap that. Yeah, move out the way. I'm gonna give that Give that a texture. Okay. See, that was weird. See, what I had to do then was it wasn't showing up, and I was thinking, why is it not showing up? I had to reload the entity for it to actually appear. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to prove that my very simple parent-child hierarchy is actually like valid and correct, and isn't causing me more problems. So the more complex you go with the effect, and the more you try and change it, when it goes wrong, that's when it becomes really difficult. So it's always good to kind of sort of extract like part of what you're trying to do and just make that more simple to debug. So this is my parent. I'm going to make a child for this. Excuse my terrible naming conventions. Set that to continuous. Gonna give that count of 10.
Folks who might remember, yay, old days, might remember a ATV in 2016 that had a terrible naming convention seen on screen about 40 times. We learned to zoom in when we captured gameplay footage after that. So your naming convention is fine. Disco needs to make shield noises.
Of course, I will not do my said I was going to do my parent inheritance. No speed on that. Spawn from parent birth. Yeah, so it is working. The trail is working. How strange. So the green particle is the trail.
Mm-hmm.
If I just give it a much shorter life, yeah, give it a bit of. I'll tell you what, give it a bit of negative speed. Yeah, bizarre. There you go. It's like a little tiny kind of meteor.
Can you just turn this into the dome now?
Well, I'll just copy this. It's not going to work, is it? Just paste that into that. Right, scrap it. We're not going to worry about the trails for now because I'm just gonna lose myself. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use segments on the parent effect itself, and that will just hopefully do what people are asking it to do. So that's kind of showing. Hopefully that, and again, is this because of the compression? But what I was trying to do before was use a child to trail because that would have given me more options. I could have done some more cool things with the trailing effect. But what I've got here is just go inside it for a bit. I'm using our we got ribbon and motion trail segments. This is sort of like an approximation of a motion trail, as it were. And you can obviously change the length of time the trail lasts for, and that looks kind of, I don't know.
We're back to another Lady Gaga wig now.
Yeah, there's there's more Lady Gaga references than I was expecting, to be honest. In this.
Hey, I have multitudes, man.
Can I just do a thing?
It's your show.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool.
You do what
I'm
you
just
want.
gonna.
Sia would be more accurate. Skydancer, good call. That was much more a Sia wig than a Lady Gaga wig. I stand corrected.
Chandelier. Right. I'm gonna use spawn at parent death on this child. Oh wait, no, 1 sec, sorry. Set that back to 1. Set this to parent inheritance. Set this count to 2. Get back to 2000 on the parent. Whoa. Okay.
Now it's UFO.
So Oh yeah.
Like straw hats.
Did you say like a straw hat?
Yeah.
We just illustrated the difference between you and I, Leo.
If there was a straw hat in Star Citizen, I know full well that your character would be wearing one, Leo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Quick explanation of what I've just done. So I've used parent and child. Oh no, sorry, wrong one. I've used a parent and child hierarchy again. What I've got in this case is I've got the child spawning when the parent dies. Now, as it happens, I've just got the parent. It's not colliding or anything. I've just got it set so it kind of roughly dies. I'll just drop it down a bit. In fact. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. See, I've gone too low. So it's basically the parent is dying, and when it dies, there's a child particle that's getting spawned from that, and then the child it's because I've used parent inheritance. It's inherited a lot of the settings from the parent, which is actually quite again like a happy accident. I wasn't really expecting that almost like donut formation to come from them. It's because I've got velocity, direction, from shape.
Go ahead.
If I untick that.
Go ahead and switch back to optimize for video.
Okay.
Yes.
How's that?
It's a reminder to folks watching at home. The frame rate issues are with Zoom, not with the editor or the engine or the workspace or Mike's.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't worry about that. The frame rate is absolutely fine.
You can stay in this mode for a little while.
Okay. Right. Okay.
We now know what everything says.
I'm gonna just tidy this up a little bit. I'm gonna reduce the size over the life. I'm gonna re-add velocity, direction, from shape.
What is this? This is the new sombrero shield. It's coming in Alpha 3.18. Go make a Reddit thread.
Right. So now we're starting to what I really want to do. I feel like I have gotten a little bit sidetracked. I want to kind of start layering this up. I want to start adding complexity to the effect. And one thing I've just done there is I've checked color, Z buffer option in the collision section, which backers will be well aware. We've talked about this a lot of times. This means the particle now actually collides with the floor in this case. It's colliding with the Z buffer specifically, but it's now kind of looks more natural. It's even though it's a very unnatural looking effect, it's colliding with the floor.
There's nothing unnatural about the sombrero.
I'm going to just set this to VFX. Would anyone mind if I drop the trail time down? I feel like with the trail, it's lost that kind of digital look. Now, this looks more digital now,
we just
doesn't
got the digital look back.
Yeah, just going to quickly save. So they're free facing now. I've set them to free facing. Before they were camera facing, and with it being camera facing, the quad is always twisting to face the direction of the camera. When you're making kind of a digital effect, that can look a little bit too random. You kind of want the squares to be like aligned, as it were. So I'm just going to leave them as free facing because I feel like that works better for the digital theme that we're working with. Right. So back to the.
Sorry. No. Somebody put Moobot in the chat. Moobot's trying to shill for the game. Get out of here, Moobot.
I don't know what that is.
Probably left over from the Battle of the Bricks. Go away, Moobot. Nobody likes you.
Right. Something I just quickly did was I've set the parent to be colliding with the Z buffer as well now. So that means if I increase the life of the parent, it's now physically colliding. But what's happening is you can't kind of see that child spawning frantically like it was, and what the reason for that is that because I've got child collision spawning when the parent dies, the parent is alive for longer, so it's colliding, the parent is, and it's just hanging around which kind of looks quite nice because it's created this nice kind of shape and form. But you're only kind of occasionally seeing this little kickback of these particles, the children. Kind of like that. It's quite cool.
Cool.
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the spawn options on the child to spawn at parent collide. So now this just works it's a bit more kind of robust now. Just go back into F11 mode. So every time the parent collides, it's spawning the child. And what you'll see if I just drop down below this, because it's Z buffer collision, there's no mesh there now. There's no Z buffer kind of information there, so it's just going to fall continually down. But that's kind of a side note, really.
So now I have a challenge for you, Mike.
Okay.
Can the color change along the way? Like, can it start out blue like this and end hot pink?
Great choice. Great choice of color. Always hot pink, if in doubt. Yes, it can. That's the happy answer. So, just gonna use. Oh, look! I've just found a bug. Did you see that?
Okay.
Copy color, paste, color into key, and it doesn't like it. I mean, it's a nice color, but it's not what I asked.
Yeah. Put it on the backlog.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. Let's find a nice.
Yes, I banned Moobot. Nobody gets to shill for Star Citizen on my stream except me. I'm the only shill here.
So what's happening here is hot pink. We said hot pink, didn't we? There you go, Jared.
Delightful.
So the parent, this is the parent now. Starts blue, turns pink. Now what I need to do is I need to edit the child because it doesn't make sense that the child is following that exact same color scheme on its age, because it should be the other way around, really. Can I? I'm going to swap it. Oh, come on, let me do it. Yeah, I'll just cheat the engine. I've done the reverse. In fact, I'm just going to keep it pink. So
yeah.
That's a better match now, because obviously what's happening is the child is spawning when the parent collides, and you kind of want that to be roughly equivalent, depending on what you're going for visually. But yeah, that's got a bit of a kind of like synthwave neon thing going on now, isn't it? It's good choice, good direction. I like that. Okay. I'm just gonna just slightly noodle away at the Z buffer options. If you want to give me any more kind of feedback or any other requests, feel free to, but I'm just going to play around with some of the elasticity options on these children. How can I get them?
I guess one of the cool thing with the collisions is if you were to put like a different object underneath, like the line would kind of follow the objects. Like,
we have to see this.
Yeah. Right. In that case, it's going to drop. Oh, there. Let's just go nuts. Let's just. Why are they so big? Okay, right. Look at that now. That's pretty cool. I'll just reintroduce the chaos of the velocity direction from shape. Pop that speed back up. Okay. I'm going to save. I'm going to press F11 full screen mode. I'm going to go into game mode, and it's not going to crash. All right. So here we go. Oh, see that? That coming through okay?
Yeah. Gives a little more profile. There you go. Slowly walk through. There you go. Like the T1000 through jail bars. I suppose it was psychiatric ward bars.
So this guy's just got digital rain coming right at him. So yeah, that's that's what we get from the Z buffer collision. Again, I appreciate we've shown this before, but it's kind of
Yeah, I think we've gained like 300,000 new citizens since the last time. So there's always new people.
Yeah, good. That's good to know. So I'm cranking up the count. This does obviously make the effect more expensive. Just a quick note on for anyone who's noticed the color of the icons changing to red. What that means is by default, this might be where I let you talk the science, Leo, but by default our effects are deterministic, and in very, very simple terms that just means they're kind of more optimal, cheaper to have in the game. Certain things that I will do to certain settings I will add to an effect will cause it to become non-deterministic, and that can be more expensive. There's more kind of information that the engine needs to know about. So yeah, it can become quite expensive on the PFX update cost in particular. On its own, just doing one thing like I've done here isn't going to kind of break the game at all from a point of view of efficiency. But this red color change indicates that it's now become non-deterministic. It's not always obvious why it is. Sometimes you'll make a change and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that makes it non-deterministic. Leo, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's kind of various reasons, but like the main difference is that like deterministic particles is that at any given time during the lifetime, you will know the exact state of a particle, so position and all those kind of things. So if you say at 5 seconds, you know, like the particle will be at an exact position, while for the non-deterministic particles, the state changes from frame to frame, but because it's more random or there is some thing affecting it over frames, like the state and the position will not always be the same at 5 seconds. So it's non-deterministic in the sense like we can't determine like the exact state over the lifetime of a particle.
I know so much in game dev is bound by draw calls and stuff. Do VFX have the same restrictions in that regard?
Yes. It's a little bit out of my knowledge sphere, but yeah, in essence, they kind of do.
It's a little bit out of mine as well, in being completely honest.
That's where we go. That's where we go to the graphic stuff and and hopefully Gen 12 and after that Vulkan can free us up from these draw call limits we've currently got.
While Leo was very eloquently talking, I just thought, maybe I can just try and tidy up that very obvious kind of central point where this is all spraying out from. Don't know if I want to kind of noodle around with it too much, but there's various things I could do to tidy that up.
Only one D-Shot says, "Where's the emitter?" That's on the props team.
Oh, I see what he means. Yeah, because when you say emitter, I mean in engine terms that's the emitter, but
exactly
the physical thing in terms of the law, that'll be a little bit out of
that's another team.
My bounds. Yeah. All right. What shall I do next? Where should we go with this?
You've only got 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think you can turn this into instead of starting over brand new?
I feel like I want to. Do I want to kind of have it powering on? Could I do that? Would that be easy to do in a short space of time? Like if I just went. Oh yeah, I know what I could do. Use a strength, couldn't I?
Could this be used to make hair? Maybe for a hologram character, sure. We already accidentally made some hairstyles earlier.
Yeah. So here's a kind of. In fact, let me just do that core. Keep that on because I quite like what that does.
What if you had a thruster effect coming in from the side, and how would the thruster effect interact with the dome shield?
Well. Do you mean because it's like with the wind affecting the particle? Let's just try.
Or particle colliding with particle.
Well, let's just try. See if this will work.
Allie Brown, if we, I'm sorry, Marco, if we crash the engine, it was my idea. It wasn't Mike's.
Marco is. Have you ever played fuzzball with Marco?
No.
Man, he is so good. Let's just make that square. What I'm going to just try and do, this might not work, so the full disclaimer is that this definitely might not work.
Yeah.
That's really a good sentence.
D-Shot, that's a question for game design and not VFX. VFX are visuals as far as what their purpose and intention and how they would, what they would and wouldn't deflect and all that stuff. That's stuff determined by other teams.
I like how I'm kind of getting it. It's probably not coming through because of the resolution, but I like how I'm getting an occasional glint. See that, Leo?
Yeah.
And that's nice. It's kind of not intentional. That's just because it's a free facing, and also because of the temporal anti-aliasing. One thing that I normally do when I'm making like really small particles is enable responsive AA, which does that. See the difference there? That's quite significant. When we changed over to the temporal anti-aliasing, it actually caused quite a few problems with the particles, but the graphics guys and engine guys gave us this responsive AA option. We can also use min pixels as well. That's a 2. So what that'll do, I'm doing that. Yeah. So min pixels can actually just keep the particle a minimum pixel size on the screen regardless of how far away from it you are. So if I just did something really silly like that, it's forcing each particle to be a minimum of what did I put it? 100 pixels. Now I can't count how many pixels are on this viewport. Maybe you can do that, Leo. It's got a ratio of 1894 to 1351.
Yeah, let's ask someone in the chat maybe with a calculator.
Some folks were saying that actually look cooler that way.
Well, I mean, exactly. So there's ways that we can kind of exploit it. You know, it's kind of. Oh gosh, that's.
Ruined.
Come back. Okay.
Ruined. Saved.
It's all right. I incurred a huge overdraw cost then because I set the pixel size so the particle was basically like full on the screen, but because there's 4,000. Well, there's more than 4,000. There's 4,000 plus 2 spawning every time those 4,000 particles collide. So all of a sudden, then I was absolutely killing the overdraw.
Right.
I was going to do a wind volume, wasn't I?
Yeah, let's kick the wind up.
Okay, let us find it. Where did I put that wind area? So that is.
What are you trying to do with the wind volume?
You're going to tell me I can't do it. I was going to see if it would push the particles if I use wind scale.
It will it will only work if for the whole emitter, right? It won't work for only like part of the particles.
Yeah. It's not gonna. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's not gonna like punch a hole in it per se. I think it's because I've got another wind volume in the scene that's.
Yeah, you can kind of see that there. It's kind of askew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's because. Why is that one? Where is my. Switch that off. I think I need to reload the entity. That might be where I've got wrong. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so debug options. Where can I? Should I be able to see the?
Yeah, you need to reload the wind volume as well. I was just before this
Oh, yeah.
stream, I was playing around with it as well. It's not the most intuitive.
Okay. Okay, so I don't think this is gonna like be as cool as I had hoped it would be, but yeah. So if I increased it, so do I have to do that every time then?
Yeah, I think so.
So set it to, if I set the speed to 200, I've got to reload, and then I've got to reload. Where am I going wrong here, Leo? Is my direction wrong? Physics guys will be shouting at me now. Doing it wrong. Doing it wrong.
Not entirely sure, to be honest. Here.
Okay. We're gonna have to abort the wind, I'm afraid. Sorry.
What about a SDF or vector fields?
Put me right on the spot there.
Yeah, if you want to go that far, it's
Okay,
that was Leo, not me.
Okay, let's do it.
You got 8 minutes left.
Oh God, so stressed now. Textures, effects. Come on. Just hoping there aren't names in here that.
Rolo says that use Gen 12. If you follow along with the monthly reports that are released every month on the robertspaceindustries.com website, Rolo, you'll know that Gen 12 is not like a one thing. It's not like it just goes in and then it's suddenly in. It's parts and parts and parts and parts that have been added and implemented into various areas over the last most of the last year. So that's a much more complicated question to answer than just yes or no. The answer is both. Whoa. What did you do?
So that's not part of the effect. That's the vector field that I've dropped in. What I'm gonna have to quickly do. Can't believe you asked me to do this, Leo. It's outrageous.
I know. But look how cool it starts to look already. I mean. All
right. So quick explanation there. So what I've done is I've dropped a particle field entity into the scene. We've got two options with particle fields. Is that right? We've got sign distance fields. We've got vector fields. I'm using the vector field. It's a pre-created one. The texture format, is it a 3D texture? I'm never quite sure if it's 3D texture.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. So this is occupying. If I bring the bounds back on, so within this bounding box, the vector field exists. Draw advanced is. Does it come through? It's basically showing the direction. So it's a bit like. How would you describe it, Leo? I'll let you describe it.
It's a 3D grid with like each cell in the grid having its own direction. Does that make sense?
It's a shitstorm.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And so the directions for each cell can affect the particles which are inside the same cell. So there is a link between the grid and the particle system, so the particle system can react to the directions. It's less digital now, I have to say.
It looks like my hair when I wake up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How would you even describe what we're drawing now? I'm not sure. What
Stranger Things, something.
Mike, take the volume and move the SCF and move it half in and half out, like so that we can see it affect half of the. Oh yeah, see you see it do all kinds of weird stuff now. Slide a little more.
Good.
So now we can see what the volume is doing. You see the volume.
So on this side, it's like absolute chaos on this side. And the reason, in fact, I'll just bring it down again. I increased the strength multiplier of the actual vector field itself. One quite nice thing is like what we weren't able to do with the wind volume, which I think is what we were hoping to do, was like pass the wind through. but we can do that with a vector field. So now that the bounds are kind of smaller than the thing, smaller than the effect itself, it's kind of, you can see it influencing as it passes through. Especially if I increase it again, strength multiplier, just kind of slicing through and disrupting the particle flow as it goes through it. Vector fields and sign distance fields, kind of, there's a lot of things that we can do. It helps us to kind of be more creative with the shapes and the motion of the effects that we make. Yeah, actually, it's interesting. If you look at the floor there, like, you can really see when I'm sliding it across, kind of see it almost dragging through. That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, because the child particles also get affected, I guess.
Yeah, because I've got parent inheritance.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the core one isn't. Yeah, but the child is affected by the vector field. I'll just jump into how are we doing for time?
I got 2 minutes.
Okay, so let's get the camera out a bit. So, Leo, can you think of some creative ways we're using vector fields in the game at the moment?
Yes, the atmospheric entry effects are a very nice example. It's one of the, it's kind of an interesting, or that's not the vector fields actually. That's
Sign distance
SDF.
fields.
Sign distance fields. Yeah.
Yeah, sign distance field. I think in one of the engine rooms. Which one was it? Was it the reclaimer?
We got it in a few. Actually, the vector field I'm using in this is one of the engine room vector fields. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's basically the particles will follow the shape of the room. So the vector field has been created from the geometry in the room, and so anything that's in the room will kind of give a little bit of a sense of wind inside the room, so that it doesn't kind of just drop on everything. It will kind of flow away a little bit, which is good use for this.
Definitely.
All right. So one last thing, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just like put your face on the keyboard and roll it? See what
Put
happens.
my face on the keyboard.
Just see what happens.
My actual face
See
on
what
the
happens.
keyboard.
See what happens.
I know what'll happen. I'll look really silly forever because it'll be immortalized in a video.
I tried, everybody. All right. Thank you, Mike and Leo, for taking your time at the end of the week and showing us. I think besides just how cool and inventive VFX are, I think it was an excellent demonstration of why we call it game development and not game construction. You don't go into a thing with blueprints and engineering and all this stuff and like, oh, we're just following the instructions and making the thing on the paper, right? It's game development is about exploration and about testing things and happy accidents. So many happy accidents throughout all of game development stuff. And this was a very good demonstration of principles that apply to everything. A lot of it is you go in and you see what happens. You go in with a plan. I mean, you always have a plan, but mostly you allow for discovery and stuff. Oh, what are you doing now with the thing? Hold
on. Sorry, I was just totally freestyling crazy. While you were
going crazy. All right, so that's it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on this week's Star Citizen Live. If you haven't already, check out Inside Star Citizen this week with a look at two recent additions to racing. One that just went live in the recent Alpha 3.17.2, the Snake Pit, which is a racetrack inspired by you, the community, and the upcoming Horizon Arena racetrack coming in Alpha 3.18. That was also inspired by a lot of really old and long-standing requests from the community, and both of them are fantastic examples of just a single developer finding time between tasks and going, I got to wait for a little bit for this person to get ready for this and for this resource to be ready. I want to keep busy and being inspired by the community and making some very fun things, very happy accidents that go into Star Citizen. So check that out. And then we will be back with ISC next week for an entire sprint report episode. I'm still writing it. We're still putting it together. I don't know what's going to be in it, but it will be a 100% all sprint report 4. They don't happen very often, but it's happening the next week. So check that out. This direction. That's Mike. That's Leo. I'm Jared. Thanks for hanging out with us, Star Citizen. And we'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.
See you.
See ya.
We love you, Santa Claus. Who's Santa Claus? Me? I'm going to have to get a haircut and a shave soon.